See, all of my haters, especially Tendy Time, here's what they're trying to prove that somehow I inherited a lot of money or my father gave me a lot of money to always live and always survive. Now, do you want me to prove it to you right now how none of this is true? I'm going to give you the proof. Okay. I bought my house in 2018. My father was alive. You think my father was going to give me 150,000? Is this what everyone believes? My father gave me, or my father bought the house, or whatever. Okay, no. Listen to me. My father allowed me to live in a tiny apartment. It was a tiny apartment for like, I don't know how many years, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. We live in a tiny apartment. How come if my father was this like super generous and once again, listen, may he rest in peace. I'm not trying to say anything bad about him because I love him and he's my father and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just trying to make you all understand something. You're trying to make it seem like I've always lived off my father. He took care of me. So I want you to think about this. Why would my father allow me to live in this tiny apartment? Now, here's another thing. Why would my father allow when my mother left him? Are you ready? Why would he allow my mother now to live with us? We were crunched up. We were all living in this tiny apartment. My mother, my wife, my two children, my two dogs. So if my father was this like John D. Rockefeller, as Teddy Time is trying to make, wouldn't he have helped us? Like, would he have said, I don't think I want my son, my two grandchildren, right? My wife or my ex-wife, because they got divorced, and his wife and everybody to be living crunched up in this small apartment. So how do you explain that, Teddy Tom? Explain it to me. Can you please explain it to me? Why would he do that? Since he's friggin' Bill Gates, right? He's Donald Trump. Why wouldn't he say, you know what? Here's 200K, go have fun. Why would he do that, right? Okay. So we're all, I don't want to get into it, but my father resented me because my mother moved in with me. He actually, I don't want to say certain family things, but let's just say we were going through a very extremely stressful time because he was pissed, my father, when my mother left him. He was pissed. Give me money if I only told you what he did. I'll think about it if I want to mention it. All right, I'll think about it, but it's a very personal thing. I might share it with you tonight. I might share one of the most deepest personal things with you about my family. I might do it. I have to think if I want to do it. I'm not sure yet. But let's just say, give me money. My father was angry at me. My father was angry at my mother that she left him and moved in with us into our small apartment. So giving me money was not an option. He wanted to give me torture. He wanted, and he did, by the way, which is the personal story. He did give me torture. So this concept, Teddy Todd, that you seem to have, that my father, I don't know, bought me my house, supported me. No, I found out my wife had breast cancer, stage 4 breast cancer. I became Superman. I actually made this video. I remember all the apes were like Apefather. It's called. You can go look it up. Look it up online. Apefather shares a low point in his life. I made this video maybe 6 months ago. 6 or several months ago. Look it up. Look it up. Put it, Apefather shares a low point in his life. I was living in a small apartment. I found out my wife had stage 4 breast cancer. I killed it, man. I don't know. I snapped out of it. I went nuts. I started, going crazy. I sold 20 houses. I made a ton of money. I put all of my money into, buying, we bought our house for $320,000. You know what I mean? Then I made another, I was killing it, man. I was making another ton of money. Sold even more houses. I was going nuts. And then that's when I just stopped, because now I worked for a company called City Search, and I also worked for Hilton. So there's certain things that I received residual incomes from. I was the manager of the Hilton, in Manhattan, okay, for like 10 years. I worked in timeshares. I worked, with a City Search, IAC. I was a sales manager. I worked in a lot of various sales jobs over the years. But what I wasn't doing was I wasn't saving. I was just taking the income that was coming in that I was making. I was paying my rent. I was buying food. But when I say I was buying food, I mean, I was living like a king. Like, even when I was living in this tiny apartment, I was going through tough times. I still prioritized food. I would spend 800, 1,000 a week, sometimes more. I was spending all the money I had. And that's why Jennifer's mom yelled at me. May she rest in peace. God bless her. She's like, Richie, you got to get it together. But I don't know. For some reason, I just felt, when you're, I don't know if it ever, are you ever at a point in your life where you're just like content? Like, I was just like, look, my wife's healthy, thank God. My kids are healthy, thank God. I don't know. I just didn't have the motivation. I didn't have the mojo. But when I found out she got stage 4 breast cancer, I became Superman. So, I mean, Tendy time, you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to do. You're trying to prove my father gave me money. Only if only you knew what my father did to me when my mother left him, and I might share it with you tonight. He did a horrible, disgusting thing to me. He did something very bad to me, and it was horrible. I don't know if I want to share it, but it was a revengeful thing he did. He was very angry my mother left him and lived with us. And you see, you guys have this impression my mother inherited all this money from my father. My mother inherited zero from my father. They did not have a good marriage. I didn't have a good childhood. I wrote a song which I might play for you. It's called "The Middle of the Night." It was like a very Bon Jovi kind of vibe, and it was about that I had a very miserable, tough childhood, and I just wanted to run away, just like in the middle of the night. I just wanted to pack my bags. And just, I didn't care where my destination was. It could have been friggin' Mexico. I didn't care. I just wanted to get the F out of there. So, Teddy Type, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no. Look, my father left all of his money to his grandchildren. Look, my father would never leave money to me. My father would. My father. We really didn't have the greatest relationship. Look, may he rest in peace. My father would never leave money to me. My father would never leave money to my mother. He left my mother nothing. My mother worked she worked in the Board of Education, and she was a school aide, and, she has a certain, the amount of money she gets for her pension. She gets a little Social Security. She doesn't get a lot of money. That's it. Okay. So this concept that my mother gave me 150 or $200,000 is more insane than my father giving it to me. Because my mother doesn't have any money, My father left her ugats. Listen, may he rest in peace. Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Tendi, you just have to accept that the ape father is a good father. You have to accept I'm a good son to my mother. You have to accept that I'm a good husband. Okay, with the exception of the funny stuff that I've been doing lately. I would never cheat on my wife. I love her, and I would never ever hurt her. I'm just a look. Can't you all understand that I'm a party animal? I'm just a guy who likes to have fun. I like to enjoy life to the fullest. And sometimes, what do? You go out, you drink, you get drunk. You go nuts. You just have a wild night. And but that doesn't mean that the next day you don't go back to your family. Remember Goodfellas? Remember Ray Liotta, may he rest in peace. Remember he had the Gumata on the side? Oh, I can't, I gotta think of her name. It's gonna come to me any minute now. Russo. It was something Russo. Remember her last name? Janet. There it is. It just came to me. Janet Russo. Remember? She's like, Janet Russo, you go get your own man. This was Henry Hill's wife, remember? She had her 2 kids with her. She was at the apartment that Henry Hill got. He got like this luxury apartment. You go get your own man. She was screaming. So remember when Robert De Niro? Remember when Big Paul? They had to sit down with him. But Robert, there was Jimmy Conway, and Big Paulie. Okay, so Paulie sat down and he said, "Listen, we understand what you're doing here. It is what it is." I said, meaning like he had a gumata. You understand? He goes, "But you can't be living here like 6, 7 days a week. You got to go home to your family. You got children." Okay, Karen, she's coming to me crying here. She's going crazy. She's ready to shoot herself. He said, "We can't have this. This is not our way. See, the Italians, we don't believe in divorce. We, especially even the mafia, they don't believe in divorce. They believe in you do everything in your power to always stay married. Even if you watch The Sopranos, like remember when Carmela wanted to divorce Tony? Tony don't believe in divorce. Even though Tony had all of his gumadas and he did everything he did to get his little weasel wet. He did what he had to do, okay, but he would never ever divorce Carmela, okay. It's the same thing with Henry Hill. Henry Hill had his gumada, he did his, but with Robert, De Niro, who played Jimmy Conway, and Paulie told him, you gotta go home to the family, wisen up, straighten up. Remember, he said that. He's like, okay, 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 okay. Yeah. So now, does that mean I have a gumada? No, I don't have a gumada. I'm making a reference to Goodfellas. But the thing is that at the end of the day, we're all men, and we're under stress. We work hard for our families. Sometimes we need like that release, meaning like we want to go out, we want to get drunk, we want to get some of that steam off, and it's all men talk this way. All men say that you see a pretty girl, you see a hot girl, you say, "Hey man, she's gorgeous. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind getting a little piece of that. That's prime. That's prime meat there. That's prime." Okay, but saying it and doing it are two different things. I mean, you know what I hate about all of you men, and I have to say it. I really have to say that I really, really have a lot of disrespect because you're all lying ass dogs. All of you who are ripping me up and you're saying, hey, Father, you're this terrible person that you see a gorgeous, beautiful girl and you think to yourself, man, I wouldn't mind getting a nice piece of that. Like you all would not feel the same way. Are you really going to convince me? Are you trying to make me understand that if you were married and you saw the most hottest, sexiest, gorgeous girl, that you wouldn't take a little peek, that you wouldn't maybe just imagine? You wouldn't do that? You're lying. Men are all like dogs. All men. All men. Okay? But the thing is, there are men who do cheat on their wives. There are men who do act. I don't do that. Okay, but do I look? Do I fantasize? Do I consider, having a fun time out where I get drunk and I go nuts? Do I consider that wrong? I don't consider it wrong. I don't. And for all these lunatics that you drink and drive, I walk to my mother's apartment. That's it. That's another thing. Teddy Time, he made this video showing how far Cafferty's, right? The bar was from my house. Once again, it's the dirt. You understand? His brain isn't working right. I didn't go to my house. I went to my mother's apartment. It's right there. It's like a few blocks away. You friggin' psychopathic lunatic. This is what I'm saying. I don't know if Teddy Time is paying attention to anything. He made like this map quest showing where Cafferty's is, right? To my actual house. No, that's far. That's far. There's no way I would have been able to walk from Cafferty's to my house. But Trade Winds in Waretown is like literally a couple of blocks. It's near. It's right there. It's very easy walking distance. And I'll tell you what, if anybody feels that I can't do it, I'll be willing to take another bet, okay? Because I know we got a bet going right now with the million videos, okay? By December 20th. Remember, I got the whole day, so it ends December 21st. But I'll be willing to make another bet. I will be willing to film a whole video. Who wants in? Who wants in? I will film a whole video of me walking from Cafferty's to my mother's apartment. And I'll the whole video, I'll just do it. Whether it takes, like a 10, 12-minute walk, 15-minute walk, it was something like that. I will film it. Okay. And if you all want to make a bet that I can't do it, let's do it. And in this case, we could call it a financial bet. We can make any amount of money you want. I'll walk it. So here's the thing. Here's if I lose. If I can't physically walk from Cafferty's to my mother's apartment, you win. If I can physically walk from Cafferty's to my mother's apartment, you lose. Tell me the amount of money you want to bet.